Let's close that. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so what we want to do is I'm going to do USD JPY just because I'm comfortable with it. But what we're going to work on is we're going to go through some of the various items of how to set up your day, how to manage trades, things of that nature, what to look for, how to hunt specific trades. I know a lot of people are confused about when to enter, when to exit, so hopefully we'll clarify that. Go through some differences of, like what's the difference between a zone and the price level, how we talk about that, support and resistance, things of that nature. So what I did was I just loaded this right now. I just put in from I guess from February 2nd. I don't know if we want to do a different date. I mean, we can do anywhere really. I don't care. Like I said, this is not really, something that I looked up. I'm going to be talking about just sort of what we're looking for. So I have like the 21st of February to like, I guess today, or well, I don't know what date that is. That's November 5th, I guess. Okay, so that's cool. So we'll do that. Throw a balance in, got some leverage, history on charts, start simulation. We should be good. Okay, so now once again, when you're in this, you have to create charts, right? So we have to open up some charts. So let's open up the 1 minute. I always like that. 5 minute, sure, we'll do that. The 1 hour, oh, yeah, let's do 15. The 4 hour, and let's do the daily. Now, I'm opening up all these charts. I don't want you to feel that you need to have all these charts open all the time. What I'm trying to do here is really just get it set up so that you have these tools in front of you for what we're going to do. What I mean by that is I want you to understand that there's certain times you should look at smaller time frames or larger time frames, and then there's other times where you don't have to. And I'm going to talk about those specific times to give you a better idea of exactly, what you're looking for and how you're looking for it. Because I mean, a lot of people get confused about the various time frames when you're using them. I only trade this time frame, is that correct, or this correct? That's not necessarily always going to be the best way to do things. So let me just close off. I'm gonna be stupid and close my charts because for some reason, if I open up all these charts, they're all gonna open at the same time. It's all right. I'll go back and okay, I guess this one has to stay open. Uh-oh. Oh no. It's not working. It's starting to bug on me. Oh, there we go. Oh, why are you closing? Simulator will be closed now. Oh, well, that's fun. Hold on a second. Oh, yeah, because I closed the simulator thing. All right. Give me a second. See, this is why. Give me a second. I'll reset it. All right, let's do that. Let's load the simulator again. Okay, sorry, so let's figure this out again. So we wanted to do, say, yeah, we can do January 11th, sure, end simulation. Yeah, the 20th, that works. Balance, let's do 500. Do that, okay. So we'll set this up again. I apologize, everybody. You haven't missed anything. I just screwed up the stupid simulation. I'm not really good at this shit, so hold on, let's add these charts. So we're going to add, no, I don't want to, no, I don't want to do that either. I don't want to do this one. So let's exit this. Sorry, let me do this one more time. New simulation. USD, Euro USD, no, USD JPY. This allows you all to come in. So let's change this date. Yeah, there, February 13th, and then end simulation there. Okay, good. All right, now we're back to normal. We're gonna add that chart. Gonna add that one. Gonna add 15, 1 hour, 4 hour, and daily. Okay. So let's do this all one more time again. Get all these bad boys open. All right. I don't want this one for some reason. Okay, perfect. That's good. Close that. Okay, let me get everything started. Everybody's here, so that's good. You guys are all waiting patiently for me to do things properly, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm slow at stuff like this, so you'll have to excuse me for being stupid. I never said that I was good at this stuff, but you guys want me to be good at it, so I keep working slowly at it. Clean. Default. Yeah, bones there. Okay. All right. So we're here. Everyone's here. This is going to be uploaded and everything. Hi to everybody. Okay, so we're good to go. So what I did was, like I said in the beginning, is we're going to go through a lot of just understanding analysis, but understanding how to visualize where we're going, why we're going in that direction, understanding how candles move at certain times, things of that nature. So, you know, we're going to have a good idea of what's happening. If you have questions, I'll try and answer them, but really I want you to watch sort of and review the process and my thought process, because I'll be speaking to exactly what's happening and why it's happening. Now, once again, I'm not doing this simulation to show how well I trade. I'm a good trader. I'm not the best trader, so I'll put that out there. But what I'm doing is I want you to get a framework of why I do what I do and how I do what I'm doing. And the reason being is I want you to understand sort of what's going on in the markets, but more importantly, how things are working on your side in terms of your trading. So what are you looking for? How are you looking for it? Why are you doing what you're doing? And maybe this will also help you understand just those little hints that might be able to help you in that regard. So once again, we're always starting off on our major time frames. So the daily, you know, we're looking at something similar to here. Don't have a lot of information yet because I can't scroll across. You have your 4 hour here, so we can work off of that. Looks like we're right in the New York session, essentially. It's 16 GMT, so right in the New York session, so we can start to see how things are moving. But what I want to do is I want to go through this rather slowly and methodically, just so you can get an idea of like why things are happening the way they're happening. Okay, so let's take a look, and here's the first thing that we want to take a look at with these charts. What I want to show you is, you know, some things that are very straightforward. So, you know, once again, plotting support and resistance, I mean, simply basic things. What we're looking for is multiple touches. We're looking for where things make sense. And, you know, right off the bat, I'm looking right over here as a possible resistance level, okay? And then, you know, I'll grab a support level. Yeah, probably here would be a big support level. One can argue that this could be a support level, but what I'm doing here is I'm framing my charts. So you as a trader have to do this because you have to prepare yourself to see what's happening in the markets, and this gives you an idea of where we can start to do a diagnosis of what's happening in the markets. So some things that I noticed right away, once again, as we start working through the charts, is we had a rejection up here and a drop, okay? So right away, things tell me, if all things being equal, if we're moving in this direction, when I look across, that's a potential target area, okay? Reason being is price was tested here, it exhausted and pulled all the way back. So when you look at what you're doing when it comes to price, you're saying to yourself, why was this price important? And then why was this price important? Okay, so as you start to look through your charts, you're looking for signs to say, why are things happening? You're asking yourself, why are things happening? What is happening here? And how does that all correlate? So as you start to go through the charts, I've highlighted some things of interest to me. And then when I start to scroll across, I can start to see where things happened again. So you can see here, we tap this region a lot. We tap this region over here. We tap this one. So now when you look at this chart and you say, okay, what's happening next? This region over here, as an example, this one right here, an initial tap, we had a pull down, and then we had a pull up. It's safe to say somewhere down the road over here, this zone, this price level will be something. It will come back to us. The same thing as when we look up over here, this price level going across probably will come back to help us in some regard. So when you start doing this and you start to look at the charts and you start saying to yourself, okay, why are things happening the way they're happening? This gives you a visualization, and you say to yourself, okay, if I know that we could potentially go up here or potentially go down here, now I'm starting to watch to see what's happening in this area. Are we going up or are we going down? If we're going down, we're moving into this region more than likely. If we're going up, we're going to this region more than likely. And then I'm looking back in this direction, looking left to say, hey, what is over here that could possibly give me trouble with my chart, like make it difficult for us to pass through from a price level? On the higher time frames, it's not, like you can see a perfect example here right now with USD/JPY, there's not a lot of stuff going on over here, right? But as we start to go through the shorter time frames, you're going to start to see that there's more traffic in those areas. Okay, so as we start to go through, so we're on the 4 hour, if we jump into the hourly time frame, now things have sort of changed, right? We had this drop, so this, you know, once again, this probably this area over here is that 4 hour candle where we had that wick and we had that drop and that pull back up. But you can start to see now, hey, I don't have a lot of information here. How do I get more information? And as we start to go through the charts, the 15-minute we have information here, the 5-minute we have a little bit more information, and finally the 1 minute, you can start to see how things make sense and how we're going to start working through them. So let's run the simulator, and what we're going to do is we're going to run it right now through the 4 hour chart here, and we're going to take a look and see how we move through it. And I'll just do it just by hand just so that we can see movements through. Okay. So we had basically 2 hours of, or 8 hours of movement, and what did we say? We said we were either going, once again, to this area over here, so coming back to this section over here, or we're going over here. So now, based on this information, we can now do some more deduction, okay? So we can say right away, we can look and say, hey, this was a price tap. This is now a tap and we're starting to reject. So if we're tapping and rejecting at this level at a major candle, where would we be heading to? Probably this area over here. So as we start to go through, this is how you're going to start to look at the charts, and you're going to say, okay, what is exactly going through and what is happening with these charts? So you can start to see as we start to move through the 4 hour candles. Oh, all right. So we came actually, and we actually did tap, but now it pulled right away. So you can see this wick over here, we ended up tapping into that zone, but now you can see right away, overall, now we're pushing back We broke down through that resistance level. Now we pop back up. So we keep moving through it. And we say, okay, why did that happen? Potentially a news event. We don't know exactly, but there was a strong push up. So now let's continue through and see where we're moving. Okay, now we stop. So once again, where did we want to go to? We wanted to go to that level there. So here's an example where we wanted this price level, we hit it. We wanted this price level, we sort of hit it, but we didn't. But the idea, once again, is if we're going down, this is your target. If we're going up, that was your target. So now when you start to map those out on shorter time frames, it's the exact same idea. It's looking left to see where possible targets are, where is price going to be returning to, okay? The candles look so small in my MT4. Why is yours bigger? Well, okay. Use this. It makes it bigger, makes it smaller. This stuff you could do. Helps you out there. That probably will help you, the magnifying glass, if you want to do that. I don't know why you would want to keep your candle so small. It's hard for you to see. But yeah, use your magnifying glasses and they'll probably help you there. Anyways, as we carry on, you can see now price levels tapped here. So now when we look at the overall price, we can see here we're at like 1465, 114.65. What I'm doing now is I'm doing this. Why? Because we came to this price level and rejected it. Now this could possibly be a new resistance level. So as we start to go through, that's probably why it was a new resistance level. We pop down. Now here's an interesting idea, and this is something now that we look at a lot as traders as well, is what is this? A potential wick fill, right? So you're going to say to yourself, okay, great. I'm going to take sells over here, and then I'm going to ride it right down to support. Okay, that is always possible. But now look over here. This could possibly tap and push back up, right? Because it's a price level. We can consider this all sort of a support level at this point. We don't know that we're going to hit this. Once again, I drew this line based on what I thought was interesting, but that's not what price is going to tell me. It's the same thing. I drew this line over here because of this information over here. I don't know if this line is exact. So this is where, once again, when you use your judgment and you go through the charts, you're going to say to yourself, okay, if I'm looking to take a trade and I see a wick fill like this, where do I think I can get out safely? I don't want to ride the entire candle because, once again, there's a possibility I could lose, right? But then what is my range? So when we turn around and we discuss range, we say to ourselves, and this is what I tell everybody, if I'm taking a sell here, how big is my range? So my range to support is about 40 pips, right? So we all agree it's about 40 pips. How many times out of 10 am I going to get 40 pips? Maybe once or twice if I hold my trades. Because once again, I'm not looking at this trade as a vacuum. So when you're thinking of probability and when you're thinking of a specific trade, don't look at the one trade and say to yourself, well, because it did it here, it's always going to do it there. You have to look at a trade as an overall picture. So if I ran this trade 10 times or 100 times, how many times out of 100 would we hit this support level? In multiple instances. So think about this coming across every single day. We have a similar situation. Maybe not on this chart, maybe on another, but how many times are we going to hit that specific target out of 10? And how many times can we get, maybe 20 pips, right? That's a safer bet. How many times can we do that? Because when we look across, you can see here, once we get into 20 pip range, we're hitting this target here. So when you start to look at that, now you say to yourself, okay, how am I planning this trade? I'm looking at, right now, I'll jump into the hour chart. I'll start looking into the 15-minute chart. And now I'm starting to look at stuff and trying to figure out what makes sense at this point. Okay. Do we consider these wicks as zones? No. Once again, there's a difference between supply and demand zones and price levels. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn around and say, okay, I have an idea for this trade. I'm looking now to fill this area, right? We're looking to go from up here, because this is now the 4 hours short, like sort of zoomed in, to this point over here. But once again, we tapped here and rejected. So there is a possibility that we're moving in this direction, because this could be an initial tap and a push up that way. Now the question becomes, well, Ted, how do you know that? We don't know. And this is where you as a trader have to stop trying to time the market, guess the market, and be upset when you're wrong. It's okay. When you start looking at this, you're going to say to yourself, okay, if I'm taking a sell position here, my stop loss is probably going to be up over here. This is another resistance level over here. If I'm a conservative trader, we're looking here. So when I start to look through these charts and I'm looking to take a sell here, sorry, give me a second, let me just change this. When I start looking to take a sell here, this is my sell position. I'm looking for, you know, say 25 pips. So we can say that this is 25 pips. So right into the beginning of this tap, 25 pips up, you're looking over here. So you can safely say if we go to this level, so 114.52, so let me do that. So 114.52, so probably right about over here. That is where we're going to have issues. Okay, so this is where we're going. This is our target. So let me do the target right over here. This is our target. This is our stop. We have a 1-to-1 ratio. But here's the thing. If we go to here and we exit, that's fine. The problem is, don't go down to here after, like, you know, if you go to 5 pips after being up over here 10 pips. That's the problem that you're going to, that's the mistake that you're making as a trader, is you're saying, okay, well, I'm happy with 5 pips. Don't let your trade run to 15 or 20 pips and then have to pull it all the way back the other way. Okay, so here we'll turn around, let's take a trade. Let's see how this works out. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. So we're going to sell at this point. So we've entered our sell position. We can let the trade run. Am I confident about it? I think so. I think we should be okay. Okay, so we moved a bit. You can see right away that pullback, that is either going to help us a lot or it's going to hurt us. The reason why I say it's helping us is because right away we started and we've created a wick. So more than likely on the 15-minute candles, we should have a wick fill as we start to move through. So we had the wick fill. So this is things that when you start looking and you start going through the trade, you're like, okay, perfect, things are moving. Like we've already moved from basically 26, 114.26 to 114.27. We've moved about, you know, 10 pips, right? But it's giving us an idea that, hey, we're going to go here. So if you had multiple positions open, you could say this could be my first target. But more importantly, we haven't hit a drawdown yet. So we're in good position to go through. So right away, after 45 minutes, we've hit our first target. Here is where you make the decision and you say to yourself, okay, well, you know, I've locked in profits. Like, where do I want to be? How am I going to get there? Now we jump into the shorter time frames and you can start to see how the market's moving. We're getting good movement in the direction that we want to go. We're coming close to this area. Now keep in mind, we're watching the times as well, because as you start to see, we're starting to go into, you know, later on in the USA morning session, so there could be a pullback. So now start to jump into the 1 minutes and let's see what's happening. So once again, the 1 minute jumped but pulled all the way back. So when we jump into the 15, we can start to see we had another pullback. We're coming close to a price level. So this is once again where a judgment call comes in, right? You can say to yourself, okay, you know, Ted, we took this trade, you know, for once in your life you were right. we're basically down, we're basically in 17 pips, right? We were going to say, you know what, we wanted 10 pips. 10 pips was our original take, you know, if you want to be conservative. We're down over here at, you know, I guess, you know, 18 pips or so. This is where you start now jumping into the 5 minutes, and you start to see, or the 1 minute, and you start to see if there's any problems. You can see right now we have a lot of momentum going down, so everything should be okay. But here's where you start planning your trade out if you want to eject from the trade. So if we're not going all the way to our take profit level, if we're looking to eject our trade, we have to start planning ourselves, and this is where discipline comes in. You have to start saying to yourself, okay, you know what, Ted? You once again, you know, thanks for showing us how to do a stupid trade. We all know how to do that. And I'll say, you know what, go fuck yourselves, because, you know, I'm trying to help you here. So we're at 16 pips. Where is 10 pips? 10 pips are right here. So you as a trader, now you move your stop loss over to 10 pips. You can't move it away from that, or maybe you want just 5 pips and you want to let the trade run, but here's where you're securing the bag and you're giving yourself a profitable trade. Because right away, once again, we know that this is our target level. This is what we're targeting, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to hit it. We have to have plan B and plan C. Every single time you trade, you have to have this mapped out. You have to be able to say to yourself, where do I want to be optimally, but where will I go? Where would I be happy with, right? So, you know, you go to the store and you're going to buy a TV, right? Your budget's $2,000 and you say to yourself, optimally, I would like the Samsung TV for $2,000 because I've been dreaming that. If the Samsung TV is sold out, what are my alternatives? And you have many alternatives. You can buy a Sony, you can buy another TV, or you cannot buy a TV at all that day. But if you really want one, you have to make that choice. And that's the same thing with trading. So when you look at trading and you turn around and say, well, you know, I don't know where my take profit's going to be. I don't know if this is going to stop out, or, oh my gosh, the market's going the other way. You should already have all those incidentals covered. You should already know in your mind that, hey, if we start moving back up to this level, I'm good, I'm out. I don't want to be there anymore. I'm okay with that. I don't care if it goes back up and then we drop all the way back down, that's fine. But I've secured my profits and I've made sure that I'm okay. Jumping into the higher time frames, you can start to see we're getting a wick fill in the 4 hour, okay? So we're in this level that I was talking about originally. Remember, we were talking about this level over here because we would come across over here. Right away, it's tapped and it's pulled back a bit. You can start to see it happening. Where do we want to be overall? Do we think we're going to go to that level? We don't know. Once again, you have to be able to say to yourself, okay, how am I securing the bag so that I can be a profitable trader every single time I'm entering the market? That's what you're looking for at this point. Okay? So here we go. So as we continue, so we'll go back into the 15-minute candles. Actually, let's go into the 5 because I think we're going to get rather close with 5-minute candles. And this is the other thing too. So you're going to start to look. You're coming in at the various end of the hour. So we want to take a look. And we're starting to move. So we're moving down a little bit further. So we stop. Here is your first hint of problems. Okay? When you're watching your candles, now you're starting to see we've basically tapped right to that level there. Remember we were talking about originally when we started the trade? We tapped to that level there. We're looking at the time frames, and now we're looking to say, hey, we have a new hour starting. That could be a problem, right? Because when you go into the 1-minute candles, what did we see? We came right to that bottom point, and as the hour is finishing, we start to see movement pulling away. So once again, this is where you start looking at your earlier candles, right? So I'll go back a candle. You can see we're at like just before the end of the hour. You can see this is where we have the lowest point in the last few minutes before the end of this hour. This is what you look at when you're taking your trade and you say to yourself, okay, if I'm going to roll into the next hour, I have to be aware that as we start to push through, the market could start to shift on us and we could start moving the other way, right? because this is a pivotal point. The candle has finished. A major hour candle has finished, and we're going to get a pullback. That's the reason why I talk to people and I tell you guys in the chat rooms, in the groups, watch for the end of the hour. Watch those candles finish, because when they pull back, you might have a point where now we go all the way back to our original entry just to go further down again. You have to make that choice as a trader, and you have to be very aware of your time frames and what's happening. That's why towards the end of the hours, you're always, and the major 4-hour candles, those major candles, you're coming to take a look to see what's going on in the smaller time frames. This is where you're using smaller time frames to guide you, and you're like, oh shit, okay, things are starting to move, and in 3 minutes, basically, you know, these are minute candles, we've pulled up like 5 pips. Like, what the fuck? I've just lost, like, you know, basically 5 pips profit because we've now entered a new hour. So here's where you turn around and you say to yourself, okay, so we're back on the 15-minute. This is my ultimate stop. I don't want to go past this stop. So as we start to move through, we're starting to push. We got another 15-minute candle. Now we're starting to go. This is where now I start to get upset, and I'll say, okay, fine. You know what? I'm closing. I close my trade. Reason being, we came to where we needed to be. We decided to hold a little bit longer, but things aren't looking good. We can see things aren't looking good at all. We can see things aren't looking good. Things are starting to move the opposite way. Do not try and gamble with the market and say, well, you know, Ted, I believe that it's going to just, you know, pull up a bit and it's going to go further down. We don't know that right now. And as a trader, you don't know that. All we were looking for was this area over here, and we were just trying to get away from this area here. We didn't want to have anything. We wanted to have a clean trade. So as we start going through, you can see right away we're now back to where we began, right? So now you're back to where you began, and you feel like a fucking moron because you had the trade, you took what you wanted from it, but you wanted to hold it longer and you pulled all the way back. This is the problem. If you are looking at trades in these time frames, you can't turn around and say, well, I expect it to go like 500 pips or 50 or 60 pips, 70 pips. Because now when we go into the 4-hour, we have a new 4-hour candle forming, pulled all the way back. Excuse me. And now as you start to go through the hours, you can see now the market has shifted. We've changed. You took advantage of the market moving at a specific period of time. And that's what you have to remember as a trader, that you turned around and you took the trade at that specific period of time because that was going to be profitable for you. So as we start to go through, we're coming towards the end of the day, and now the market starts to shift back down. Brand new day. Back into the Asian session now. So we just jumped out of North American. Now we're in the Asian session. Here's where you start to see momentum again. Sure. Okay. Let's take a look. Take a sell position there. Okay. Where are we going? We're probably going to fill this wick. All right. Maybe not. We stopped once again. So you can see here where you have the issue. So once again, where am I now putting my stop losses and my take profits? So my stop loss is going to be up over here. My take profits are going to be further down here. Okay? So as we start to go through the market, that's what I'm looking at, because I expect us to have a little bit of a push and a pull up, because you can see these candles here are just a little bit lower than these candles here. So I expect, and this is where visualization comes in, that we may come back up to here before we go down. I don't know for sure, but just based on this indecision candle here, we may have problems. But that's what I'm looking at, is I'm looking at how is the market going to work so that we have movement that's accurate. So, you know, if you were to draw a trend line there, maybe that's what's going to happen. So as we start to go through the market, now what we're going to do is we're going to push through and see where we're moving. So you can see right away this 15-minute candle pulled all the way up. You as a trader, what do you start doing? You start panicking, right? Because you haven't figured out that, hey, maybe we could go back to that level, and now you're like, oh my gosh, what's UJ doing? UJ's doing something stupid, Ted. I don't know what's happening. But you're not visualizing what could happen. Right away I said we might come back up here. we tapped back up there. This would not bother me because I'm looking for, once again, my stop loss is up over here, my take profit is down here, but more importantly, I'm visualizing that there could be a pullback, because if everybody sees bearish momentum, you're not going to get the best price. Like we entered right now based on these candles, but who knows what institutions want to do, right? They could turn around and say, no, I don't think you should have that price. We're going to pull you all the way back and then pull down. So you have to be aware of that information as we start to push through. So now you can see we had a pullback. We dropped basically almost to our take profit level. So if we jump into the 5-minute now, you can start to see, holy shit, look at that. We were tapping right where we needed to be at that point. So if you were turning around saying, okay, I wanted just 10 pips out of this trade, there you go. You had 15, almost 16 pips with this was a 2-pip drawdown. So you got 15 pips with a 2-pip drawdown because you were in the market at a point where you had momentum. We were moving all the way through. So now I jump into the 1-minute frame. This is starting to scare me. Because once again, here's where I have to make a judgment call, right? So if we turn around and erase these drawings just so it's easier to visualize, this is probably our bottom, right? Now I'm looking left to see where, you know, we may be coming back to tap this price level. So going over here, we may pull up, drop back down, okay? But we haven't necessarily filled the full wick yet. Okay, so if we were going for the full wick fill on the 15-minute, we're almost there, but we're not there yet. So as a trader, probability dictates we should probably get there. If not, we have to be aware of why we wouldn't get there. Okay, so let's just finish this trade because there was a couple of questions and we'll get to them. So let's see where we go. We're going back up. There we go. So pulled up, now we drop. Obviously, there was a news item. We'll see. Well, I guess we can close. Yeah, let's close. We did what we wanted to do. We wanted that wick fill. I probably would have closed a little bit higher. So if I look on the 5 minutes, can I see what's going on here? Yeah. Let me do this. So on the 5-minute, I'd be watching. Yeah, so here we go. So once again, what I have done is I would have probably closed on this candle here. So we had that wick fill. There we go. We got a little bit extra, perfect, not a big deal. But once again, you can see we're always in momentum. The overall trend is down. Now, once again, when you turn around and we go back to 4-hour, what filled? Right, just similar to what we were talking about at the beginning. This wick filled. We hit this point. We took from here and we also took from here. So we basically filled this entire wick with 2 trades. But they were safe trades because remember what I said, the first one we wanted to just get over to here. We were happy with that because we didn't know that we would fill it based on probability. When we jumped in to the Asian session, we had momentum. We waited for that momentum to change so that arch to push down and we got to this support level. So now you turn around and say, well, you know, Ted, is this going to keep going all the way down here? And I'm going to say, go fuck yourself, because it's not always going to happen that way. Because look, now we're entering a new realm. We're entering a new bunch of information. Look at all this stuff over here. We have a lot of information to digest, and all that stuff is going to get pulled over to this direction here. So when you start to look at this stuff, this is why you are evaluating the market every single time, to give yourself that edge to say, why are things happening the way they are happening, and when will they continue? So their question was, what's the difference between supply and demand and support and resistance? So here is supply. We had a single tap up and a rejection. I would say here is like a demand area, single tap down, and a pull up. That's what you're looking for. Support and resistance are multiple areas, you know, multiple taps. We're looking for a single tap and a pull down. That's what we're looking for. Or over here, your candle looks like that, single tap down here and pull up in that direction. That is what you are looking for, but you need clear direction. Higher time frames will always provide you that. Lower time frames will be a little choppier, but as you get more comfortable in the lower time frames, you'll be able to see. Now, when we look, we're going to still watch the hour time frame, so let's see what's happening. Okay, so now you can see on the hour, essentially, that was our point. That was our lowest point. Why? Surprise, we're at support, right? What does Rakil say? Hey guys, when you're at support, you have to buy, right? So, you turn around, you take a look, and we say, all right, Rakil, how smart are you with this? Let's figure it out. Oh, yeah, Rakil's smart. Oh, no, he's not. Oh, he was. He did that. As we go through here, now we've broken through. Once again, you had a pull up and a reject all the way through. And as we've pulled all the way down, now we're entering another level here. If you were looking at this trade and said, well, I bought off support and we continued to go through, why did that happen? Once again, you'd be jumping into your shorter time frames and you would be looking for more confirmation pushing up. There was no confirmation really of upward trend. We never really broke this level. Like, you can see how small the candles are. We never really pulled up. And if you turned around and took a trade at support, oh, sorry. If you turned around and took a trade at support, you would have made 20 pips, and then you would have ended up getting stuck because we didn't have enough confirmation of continuous movement. More importantly, if we went to the daily's still very, very strong bearish movement. So you can see now, as you start putting together all the time frames, where you need to be. So here, one candle is not confirmation of a buy. And Rakil would tell you this, Rag would tell you this, any of the mentors would tell you this. Do we buy at support? Of course we do. But we need more confirmation. There's no confirmation here that this was a buy. That's the reason why that failed. You people will turn around and jump in on this candle because it hit the support level. Once again, there's not enough information. If we had another candle and another candle, then yes, you have 12 hours, almost a half a day of movement upwards. That's good enough confirmation. One candle is not good enough confirmation at that point. Okay. Do you use gap zones? No, I don't use gap zones. It was a perfect to scalp 5 to 10 pips and be out of there, yes. But you would have to be in and out, not stay long, yes. When a supply or demand zone range is created, when will this become support and resistance when they come back to this level? They will never be support and resistance. Supply and demand levels are exactly what they are. They're single taps. Unless we get multiple taps in this area, that's what the support and resistance is. Supply is one tap. Think about this as a swimming pool, right? You go into the swimming pool, whee! That is what's happening here. You jumped and you're like, oh shit, diving down. Okay? That's what you're doing. Price is grabbing liquidity up here to go that way. The basics of supply, this is essentially premium price. So this is PP, premium price, okay? That's what you're looking at. And you have this information and it's like, okay, fine, now we're pulling down. Where are we going? You're going to go now and you're going to find the demand zone on the opposite end to say, okay, where would premium price be? Probably over in this area. So more than likely, we'll probably come back to this area over here afterwards in the future. We don't know for sure. We could use this potentially as a price level. We come back over there, but this is a clear rejection and down, so we know that we have that information to say, hey, that was a premium price point. When we look left, do we need to look whole chart or 50-minute or 1 hour or fresh support and resistance on your left is okay? When we look left, do we need to look at whole chart out of 15 or 1 hour? Well, you want to give yourself enough information. I mean, like when I look at these charts here, like if we turn around and we say, okay, let's go back into the 15-minute charts and I'll draw out support and resistance there. If we look at the 15-minute chart here and we draw out support and resistance, we can say, okay, like, what do we want to say? This was multiple taps here. Maybe this was resistance level. We could say that this was a support level. You could draw that out for yourself if that's going to help you. I mean, for myself personally, I don't need to visualize this because I can see it with my eyes exactly what was happening. And as you get better as a trader, you'll start to see this. And on the 15-minute chart, you can clearly see here, we came up to resistance and we failed it, so more than likely we were going to drop, right? So if you had mapped that out and you said, okay, hey, that makes sense, where should we be going? Similar to what happened here. We tapped over here, we failed, and we dropped back down, but we did have overall momentum, right? So when we go now into the higher time frames, we can get that information too, right? So if you go into the hour time frame and you say to yourself, okay, well, you know, Ted, draw out support and resistance here, we can turn around and say, okay, maybe this level might be a resistance. No, actually, you know what? Let me do this. Okay, that's a little bit better. This could be, you know, probably a resistance level. We go over here, multiple taps. This could be a support level. So you could start to see now how we're coming close to various items and where we're moving. And you can then, you know, argument sake could be, okay, you know what? This could be also a support level. So, you know, you could take away this level here. Well, that was brilliant. Let me go back over here, turn around and say that we had multiple taps here. You know, I'm looking for like specifics where we tapped multiple times recently, and now you can say, okay, you know what, we're probably dropping back to this level. So as we start to trade, we can say, okay, you know what's going to happen? Working off the daily, we can then figure out, okay, what makes sense, and we're continuing through with that push. Could you draw out the zones, and what if there are multiple taps and rejections? Okay, once again, zones, these are zones, right? It's support and resistance are the same as zones. The reason why we say these are zones is because we have a level here where it was tapped and it wasn't just one pip. It was like a multiple pips. So that's what we're doing. We're basically saying that this may still be a resistance level because we've tapped into that part, but I'm just drawing the line to guide my eyes, okay? So as we look here as an example, this is just to guide my eyes. You can see that we did pop off that resistance, but that doesn't mean that we broke resistance. It's just a price level that, you know, it's a little bit higher. We got a little bit more of a push and then we drop back down. That's exactly what you're doing. Those are zones. Supply and demand zones are different from price levels. When people start drawing out zones, people are like, oh, well, this is a zone. Oh, yeah, this is a zone, Ted. This is a zone. And then they're saying, well, I'm confused. I've got so many zones on it. That's not what you're doing. You're not supposed to be doing that. That is not going to aid you. You're looking for specific reasons to see why things are happening the way they are happening. That's all you're trying to do, is give yourself an opportunity to say, hey, you know what? We tapped here. This could be a resistance level, and then we pulled all the way down. A specific supply zone would be a single tap and a pull down. These aren't zones. These are price levels. It just means that we're at a resistance level that fluctuates between 5 and 15 pips. That's all. That's what price levels and zones are. So that's all you're trying to do at this point, is you're trying to map that out to give yourself information. Specific supply and demand zones are single taps and rejections. Yeah, all right, there we go. All right. Do you map out zones on all time frames or just the higher time frames, 1 hour and 4 hour? Yeah, just the higher ones. I don't need to use the smaller ones because I have an idea of what's happening already. But you can use that if that's going to aid you. Like, this is the thing. This isn't a math exam or a high school exam or a university exam where you're not allowed to cheat. You're supposed to be cheating. Give yourself as many tools as you can without confusing yourself. If you need to draw support and resistance on all 4 time frames or 5 time frames that you're using, do it. If that's going to help you and aid your eyes to see things cleaner, do it. There's no reason why you shouldn't. But what I don't want you to do is this. Oh yeah, okay, well that's another one here. Got another one there. Okay, yeah, we got something over here. Okay, oh yeah, well down over here we got, like, this will not help you. Because now you're going to be like, okay, well, if we go over here, we're going to pull back. We're going to go over here, we're going to pull back. You have to give your trade, I guess, the view of your charts. You have to give yourself room to breathe on your charts. You have to be able to accept the fact that there's going to be a lot of noise in this area here, that we're going to have issues because of these candles here, this previous price point. You can't just say, oh, this is a resistance level, support, all the way through on one chart. Try and limit the discussion of all that so that you get a nice cleaner chart and you're able to work through it. When you want to do scalping, you will find a lot of zones on 15-minute for support and resistance of ranges looks like small for scalping. So when we are scalping, recent support and resistance will work. Yes, I mean, what you're looking at right now is exactly what I do every day. So here we go. We're going to go into the hourly. We're watching the hourly right now. Let's take a look. We should have a drop probably to this level. I'm guessing right about over here because I see a lot of taps where we didn't get to that point. Who knows? Let's take a look. We could be also at a problem because of these wicks over here. You can see the price line. This little thing on MT4 is guiding your eyes. You can see, holy shit, we just ran through a lot of price wicks. So what's going to happen next? We don't know. Indecision. Okay, makes sense. Look left. Yep, lots of wicks here. Nobody knows what's going on. Not a trade. Take a look. Now we're indecision again. Okay, pulling back up, dropping back down. Okay, back up to resistance. Coming in now to the North American session, okay? So you can see, based on what happened here, this is pretty choppy, wasn't it? Not really good to trade. Why? Because what did I say? We've probably come down to here. We didn't quite make it, but you can see all this stuff to the left was giving price issues, right? Because once again, it's historical data. If we came here once and had problems, twice and had problems, chances are a third time we're going to have problems. So we have to understand that. And more than likely, what are we doing? We're pulling back up for North American session. We're at 7 a.m. Eastern time. So let's jump into the 4-hour chart, take a look what's happening. Okay, so we've got some issues here. Let's take a look at the daily. The daily now has pulled back a bit, but we still have momentum. So you know what? Now we drop into the 15-minute charts. Let's take a look. Okay, so we drew a little bit of stuff here. Don't really have a trade yet because why? We're in the middle of a range. We don't have definition of where we're going. So let's take a look through the North American session, see what we can find. This is what I do every single day. So now I just woke up. I'm like, whoa, look at that. Charts are doing fun stuff. We had, it looks like what, a support level here. So we've just broke through a resistance level on the 15. Let's take a look and see what happens. Okay, so now here's where we get interesting. We just had a pullback. We're at a resistance level. We had a resistance level, and it didn't like it. It pulled back. Looking at the overall charts, what are we looking here? We're seeing that overall trend still. What do we talk about? A little bit lower, a little bit lower. So the next one should be a little bit lower, right? If all things are being equal, this is what you're doing. You're training your eyes. A little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower. All things being equal, we should do that, right? You can see almost like, you know, you're in this little zippity-doo thing, you know, zippity-doo all the way down. You're in like this little trend line. So you're in it almost like a channel. So once again, there's no trade yet. But what are we anticipating? If we are moving down, I'm looking to start taking entries about over here. Why? Because now we're moving in that direction. If we're going up, taking entries over here. Why? Because we should be going to this level here. This is what you have to start doing once again as a trader, planning everything out. I'm armed. I'm fully locked and loaded, and I'm waiting now to see how the market's going to react in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So we move down. Okay, I've got information. We got a strong pullback. Okay, now what I'm going to do, we're at right away, just half hour before the open of New York session. Once again, let's take a sell position. Let's see where we go. We don't know. Hopefully this works out. If it doesn't, well, we'll see what happens. Okay, we pulled back. Right to resistance. Okay, I should have told you where I would have put my resistance. My stop loss. My stop loss is going right over here. That's where my stop loss is going. My take profit. So let's do this so that we're equal with my ratios. So here we go. That's 28 pips. So I got to go into the next time frame, the hour, and we got to get 28 pips out of here. Okay, give me a second. Let me just do this. So we did this. So 28 pips is right over there. Okay, so 28 pips. Let's go. So we're going to like 355. So we're either going to 355 or we're going to 900 almost. Okay. All right, so let's take a look and see how this all plays out. Not really too sure what's going to happen here. It looks like consolidation a bit before a further drop, but we'll take a look. There's a question here. Can you please talk about stop losses? I've become well at looking where to go, but I get indecisive about where to stop losses based on levels. Well, what I did here, because I'm working off the 15-minute charts, I believe that we would probably come up to here because, once again, looking at the various points, we'll have issues here. So this is an issue. So chances are we're going to that level here. So I'm assuming that we will tap. The reason why I'm putting my stop loss here is because I assume we will tap somewhat over here again and then continue down. All things being equal, could be wrong, don't know. We'll take a look and we'll figure it out. So let's take a look and see where we go. Oh, hey, look at that. That's good. Oh, hey, Ted. Yay. Oh my gosh. How did you figure that out, Ted? Oh, fuck. Some days things just magically make sense, right? Once again, I don't want you to figure like, you know, that this is magic or, you know, this is some sort of some sort of wizardry here, but it's not. Would it be better to use zones for 15-minute chart instead of support and resistance? Once again, it's really up to you on why you would want to do what you want to do at that point. You can use zones. You can say that those were price zones. That's the only reason I was looking at it, is because I figured that we would tap over here, worst case, and pull back down, but we didn't do that. So at this point, it's like, okay, you know, we should be good to go. Now this is, once again, where you turn around and you say to yourself, okay, where are we going? Let's look at the smaller time frames. Let's figure this shit out. Okay, perfect. So what happened here? You can see on the 5-minute time frames, and this is where you zoom in. So this was 6 a.m., 7:30. You can see we tapped, and the 5-minute frames started pulling back. So as long as we didn't really breach this on the 5-minute, and this is where I would be looking to, as long as we didn't breach this level like earlier in the morning, if we stopped over here, like this would have scared me for a bit. So we would have pulled up for a bit, and I would have been like, you know, like, I don't really like that if we pass there because, you know what, we could be breaking trend. But for the most part, if we go here, once again, wicks don't lie, right? This wick and this wick lower. So now we're dropping a little bit further down. So now when you start to go through the smaller time frames, that's what I'm looking at. Do you not wait for a retest of where your entry is? Well, what am I retesting though? I'm confused. Like, you guys are looking at things at, like, you know, as it progresses. I mean, how did you know that we would retest? How did we know that we would retest resistance? We didn't know. We were just going based on the information here. Once again, I was looking at the fact that, you know what, we should continue this trend down. We don't know that we're going to retest. I mean, look at this candle here, this 15-minute candle. We didn't retest anything, right? This kind of work that you put in is beneficial if you can call those retests. But I'm looking at the fact that we're going to the North American Open, and when you see the North American Open, you can clearly see on the 5-minute charts we were starting to pull down, right? So here's 7:30 a.m. If you go basically right here, 10 minutes before North American Open, we're starting to trend down hard. We got a last push to pull up, and now we're going. So now we're at like 10 after 8. We're starting to hustle. So now what you do is when you start to look at where we're going to, it's where we're going. It's now we have to judge how far down we're going. All right. The way we do it when we buy at support or sell at resistance for further confirmation. Yeah, but I showed you what I was looking for. We were on the 15-minute charts. We had a pull down. We had a pull up and then a pull down. We had a lower low created, right? This wick signified to me potential lower low. I got in early, but I'm also trying to get in before the North American Open. So once again, I'm timing my entries to try and get the North American Open because I know we're going to get that push at 8 a.m. Eastern time. this is stuff, once again, if you know your session, you know why I'm taking those entries. And this is the reason why I hit almost 95% of my trades and I have perfect trades almost every week. It's because I know I want this grab, because right away what we've done is we've grabbed. So we had our pullback, we had a 12 pip pullback, we have a 20 pip gain. I'm almost at 1 to 2 right now. I can close, I'm done for the day. But you know what? Let's pull it. Let's see if we can get a little bit more out of this. I think we can. Yeah, we did. Yeah, success. I think we can get more. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh, I don't know if there's a news event here. So here's where we turn around and we say to ourselves, okay, we're going to secure the bag. We should have secured the bag earlier at this 5-minute candle, because then that would have given us our pips that we needed. Technically, I was supposed to close there, right? Because I think I said that on the hourly. We're supposed to close there, but I didn't. So I'm going to take profit here. So I'll close. Boom. So we got there. So you can see, once again, if we look at our risk to reward, we got in over here. 12 pip pullback, 13 pip. Let's go 13 pip, okay? And we had a 20 pip gain. So you basically almost had, you had more than a 1-to-1. You had a 1 to 1.5. risk to reward ratio. So your risk to reward ratio was okay. Everything was good. We were happy with what we were doing, and we closed. So now let's take a look and see what happens with the market. Okay, so now it looks like there was some sort of event that happened, and there's our pullback at 8:30. Pull down, further down. See, okay, well, Ted, you could have held a little bit longer. You would have made more money. Oh, you would have made even more money. Oh my gosh, Ted, what are you going to do with your life? You would have made so much more money, Ted. But how would we have known that? Let's jump on the high. Oh, no, we hit support. Oh, Jesus. Oh, this is horrible. So things are starting to make sense. I hope people are starting to realize what's happening here. Is originally we were aiming for this area here. We didn't get through the London session, but the North American session got us through that. So once again, it's understanding your sessions, figuring out what's happening, map out your support and resistance, and now you start to see things happening. Let's zoom out a bit. Yeah, we're probably going to go tap that little part over there. Pulled back, okay. 9 a.m. Drop further down, figures. 9:30 open, pull back, okay. And now we start pulling away. So we go through. So more than likely we're going to come back down in this rainbow. There we are. So you can see the McDonald's arch, right? Food is good. Once again, jump into the 5-minute time frames. You can see how all this worked, right? You can see every single time we traded, we had a pullback and a go back down. But once again, as you start to work through the charts, you can see where those pullbacks are going to be. New York open, right? So if we zoom in, 16:30, we had New York open, 10 a.m., brand new candle, pulled right back down again. Continued trend. Let's look at the daily. Daily filled that wick, exactly what we expected. Hunting this wick now, and that's what we're doing. Okay, so as we jump back in, let's jump into the hour. We've broken support, but this is not a confirmation of a broken support yet. Because why? This is what we're looking at. This level here. If we break that, we'll continue further down. But if we don't, if we come right about here, we're going to bounce back up again. Because this is a tap into this pool, into this price zone. You can almost say that that was a demand zone here, and we should pull back up, which relates to the support zone that we're in right now. Okay. Why does trading seem so easy on your webinars? Because I have a full understanding of what I'm doing and I'm trying to teach you, and this is what I do every single day. I don't rush my trades. Did you see how many candles we went through before I took a trade? I don't rush my trades. I analyze what's happening and I wait for my trade. That's all you need to do. And I'm just taking a position and I'm letting it move. So let's see where we go. All right. Okay, so now we're going to stop again. So similar to what I said, we had a pullback. New day, pullback out of this area. So this support, we can probably say is pretty strong. Okay, I don't want to put that in writing. I will just say that here. but I think that it should be pretty strong. So as we start to go through, let's take a look and see what happens on the hourly. So we're in the Asian session now, and let's see what happens. Okay, so we've had a pull up all the way through. Now we jump into our smaller time frames and we say, Ted, you know, like I really want to start trading the Asian session because, you know, like you tell me all the time I can make money. I'm not making money and I don't know what I'm doing, so I want to be able to trade the Asian session. And I say, okay, fine, let's trade the Asian session. All right, so you can see what I've done here. I've mapped out my support level for this area. All things being equal, we should go back to this level, right? That's where we're going. But if we don't, we're coming back down over here again. Is there a reason to go back down here? Don't know yet. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at our higher time frames once again. Okay. Ooh, that's interesting. You can see right away here. Ooh, interesting, right? Because now we're starting to go up a little bit. You can say now that this was maybe a support level on the 4 hour. If we draw it across, yeah, maybe it is. We don't know for sure, but let's take a look. Okay, so now we're going to jump back into the hour. We're getting momentum up. Okay, we filled that wick. Now we have momentum. So now what we're doing, let's jump into the 15-minute candles. Here are some things that are of interest to me. See these wicks? They're all forming that push up. So let's take a buy. Let's see how we do with this buy here. All right. Uh-oh. Oh, sorry, I forgot to map out my take profit points. I apologize. All right, so I want to say that this is my stop loss over here. So 22 pips down, 22 pips up. We should be able to do it. All right, so let's do this. Can I modify my trade? No. All right. Well, whatever. We're doing 22 down, 22 up. Let's do that. Oh, stopped. Okay. So we did our trade. Well, no, actually. No, I'm okay still, but we're going to probably hit our stop at that point. Let's see what happens. Yeah, we did. I figured that would happen. Okay, so let's close. Okay, so it seems to me we didn't have enough momentum to move further. So when we jump into the higher time frames, yeah, so we hit a level here, that same level, to pull back down here. 4 hour, okay, so 4 hour pulled back as well. Daily, okay, so daily we're still pushing down. So we should see now further movement. But once again, we took a loss. We tried to get momentum going up that way. Jumping into the smaller time frame, the 1 minute, now I like to go check 1 minute. Yeah, there wasn't really much happening here. So that was a bad trade on our part. We didn't have enough information, it seems. Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to I'm trying to do some analysis to figure out why this trade didn't work. Okay, let's see how we go. Yeah. Okay, jump into the hour. So yeah, it seems like we're still ranging around that level. Yeah, broke down into support again, and now we further cleared it, got it over here. Okay, so once again, we didn't have enough momentum to go further up. The 4 hour, it got crushed. The new 4 hour started, pulled up just a little bit, didn't even come back to the original level, pushed down. More importantly, the daily was still fully bullish or bearish. We still had daily candles bearish, using this top wick as our supply. More than likely, we're dropping all the way into this level here. So that's what we looked at there. You think it was at resistance? Yeah, I mean the hourly, yeah, we could, arguments could be made that this could be a resistance level. So yeah, you're right. 15-minute chart. I was hoping to ride it further up to this resistance level, but it seems like this was resistance at that point. So that's fine. So now what we'll do is we'll move into the North American session. We just went through the Asian, or sorry, this is London. Now North American. All right, 6 a.m. in the North American session. All right, so here we go. So 6 a.m. North American session. All right, so this is actually a pretty good spot for us to be in. If all things being equal, this wick should fill based on these 4-hour candles. We should probably pop to this level here. We filled this huge candle here with this wick here. So now when we look left, this is where we want to be again, using these candles as information. Because once again, I'm looking for big wicks to give me an idea of where price was rejected and where we could possibly be returning to each time. When you expect price to hit a supply zone, would you expect it to reverse? Yes. Okay. So let's look at the 15-minute frame. Once again, we're coming into the North American session. I wake up. Now this is where I start trading. Okay, so 6 a.m., 6:30, 6:45, 7 a.m., 7:15, 7:30. You can see what's happening. There's pullback. 7:45, we're still pulling back. Now I'm going to jump into the 5-minute. I want to see what's happening. I don't see enough information for me to make a trade yet, because what I see here is I see a lot of confusion, right? This wick here, I would say that we're returning to that wick there to potentially push further down, but nothing's given me any information yet. So this is where I start watching, and I'll jump into the 1-minute frame now, and I'll start to see, okay, exactly what's happening. All right, so we pulled back, and now we just started to pull down again. So now I'm going to start to watch the 1-minute frame to see where we're moving and how we're moving. So there's still no decision on where we're actually going to go. Coming close to the USA Open, now I get a better idea. Seems like we're consolidating. So it seems like we didn't fill this wick on the 5-minute. Potentially we could, but more importantly, we're tapping almost like a little bit of a price zone here. We're consolidating at this level. So I still don't have a trade. I still don't have a trade. If we're moving up, I'm going to look at 15-minute. We should potentially have a wick fill based on this wick pulled back going up, but we don't know for sure because now we're coming into the North American Open. So as we start to go through the North American Open, we're coming close. Okay, I'm getting more information now. Look at my hour. Okay, there's where I see. Now I'm getting information. This is my wick fill. I want that. That's what I'm aiming for. So you can see when I start to move around the charts, what am I looking for? I'm looking for specific information. So now when I jump into the 5-minute candles, I can see, okay, jump into the 1-minute. Okay, let's see what happens in the 1-minute. Pull up, pull up. All right, we're coming into the North American session. I'm going to take a sell position because we're just before the clock opens. And there we go. So you can see right away, what am I going for? I'm going for that wick fill. I want this whole wick being filled. So let's see if we can get it. And I'll jump into the 15-minute. So we're going down. Once again, let's talk about risk to reward. So at this point, we're entered. This is going to be my resistance level, 18 pips. So basically, I need to fill that wick to get my 1-to-1 ratio. So let's see what happens. Okay. Whoa, came close. Okay, still moving. I don't like it. Oh, I don't like this at all. Let's take a look at the hourly. Oh, yes, it's gross. Okay, so here's where now when I look at this chart, I really don't like what's happening. A lot of consolidation. When you got into the sell on the North American Open, what was your catalyst? It was the shorter time frame shooting down, and once again, it was the 1 hour wick fill that I was aiming for. I was aiming for that 1 hour wick fill. I still haven't hit my stop loss, but it's still moving. It's in consolidation. It will drop hard. Right. Let's take a look and see if we do drop hard. But this has been a long trade, so let's keep going. Coming close to stop loss. Okay, still not hit. There's stop loss hit. Okay, so let's take a look and see if we've done that. Oh yeah, we've basically at stop loss 16 pips. So yeah, so that level was too strong, and basically what's happened here is we've ranged the whole entire day. You can see we've sort of boxed that whole area and we've ranged. So this was not a good day to trade. It was Sunday. Oh, I'll go fucking figure. God, why am I so stupid? I wouldn't even be trading this day. Why am I such a dumbass for? God damn it. Yeah, so there you go. So I lost this day because I traded on a Sunday. Oh, maybe not. Survived? Nope. 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 Just hit my stop loss. Thank God. Did you hit my stop loss yet? Man, why am I trading on a Sunday? That's so stupid. Yep. Stop loss done. Close. So there you go. So I traded on a Sunday like a jackass. Don't be a jackass. I didn't even realize it was Sunday. So yeah, so I don't even know what I was doing that for. I'm so dumb. I shouldn't have been trading Sunday because look at how messy it gets. So we're moving Sunday. Now we're in Monday. Okay, so Monday, 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 Monday. I'm just going to go back to North American session where I live. I like North American sessions, so let's do that. 10, 11, 12, 13. All right. So here we are back again, Monday North American session. So we're going to look. We can see we have a lot of bullish movement. So there's no reason why we shouldn't continue through this resistance level. If we don't, we'll be pulling right back down. So what we'll do is we'll watch Monday, see where we go. Once again, it's ranging. USA Open now is 8 a.m. and we're starting to have a little bit of a drop, but nothing too significant. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what I would like to do is I'd like to take a trade and fill that. So we went over here and did that. Nope, range is too tight. Only 3 pips, not good enough. All right, let's take a look. It should fill that wick though. Oh, back down. Yeah, it's ranging pretty hard. So when we go to the 15, yeah, look at this. This is ridiculous. You can't trade this. So let's go through. Ranging, ranging, ranging. This is where you get caught in all these trades. Once again, it's Monday. We don't like these days. Look at, like, this is ridiculous. Ugh. I don't want to be part of this. Oh, okay. We're getting some movement outside of that. All right, there we go. So we broke out up over there. It did take a while. So let's let's zoom out a bit and take a look. Okay, so we've got some information now that will help us a bit. We've pushed out, but you can see clearly where we pushed to. We're coming to a minor resistance level. So just be aware. So as we start to push through the candles, you can see now we've tapped that resistance area. We should break out again based on what's happening here, a lot of indecision. So we'll wait, and there we go. There's a breakout and a continuation, right? So you know when you start watching, when we start looking at these candles, you know we're going to start breaking out. There's a lot of indecision. So here's where you have the opportunity to say, at this point, buy stop, sell stop. If we break out, you're going to catch that push. Sell stop, you're going to catch the push down. So that's where you can use buy and sell stops at that point. So If we box this little area and we turn around and say, okay, you know what, we're going to take a buy stop right over here. You got basically 15 pips up. Your initial push is 6 pips. So you know what, you can do that and ride it up. More than likely, this wick will fill again. So if we take a look and see what happens, it should fill. There we go. So once again, if you took your buy at this point right here, there you go. You basically got about 14 pips almost, and you got a wick fill. Maybe that'll push up a little bit more. There you go. So you got a little bit of a push. But once again, where are you putting your break even? At that point, you say to yourself, okay, fine, I'm happy with this initial push here. So I'm happy with 10 pips. At that point, I can let the rest run. I get another 13 pips out of that push. On the buy stop and sell stop, where do you place your stop at the higher or low of the consolidation? Well, I just said exactly where I put my buy stop. My buy stop would go right there. So once again, let's do this very straightforward. My buy stop will be going right here, and my sell stop is going right over here, right? Because this is a box. We don't know where we're going yet. We place our buy stop here. Out of the box, we fly up. Out of the box, we fly down. Stop losses, you put your stop loss right over here, because if you're out, if you're taking a buy, you don't want to go this way, so you put your stop loss over here. If you're taking a sell, you put your stop loss over here, right? You want to be outside of that area, because when it moves, it's going to move already through that way. All right. Okay, so that answered it. Sorry, you were confused, so was I, so we're all good. All right, so let's continue through. Yay, look at us go. Okay, but now key point. This is where you can trade, and it's Tuesday, so yay, it's a good day. And as we look, you can see, where are we heading to? Once again, visualize. Probably to this level. Once again, we look left. What do we got? We have a bunch of information here, a bunch of shit over here, more shit over here. We have to be aware of that. We get over here, when we come back to this direction, there's going to be probably a bit of shit over there. So you have to watch that. So as we go through, and as we start going through this information, so we'll pop through. Let's go back into the hour. You can see now we're starting to consolidate. As we start to push through, drop back down. Okay, so we got some confirms. The hour is pulling back. We didn't hit resistance, but you could see the reason why there could be arguments that this could be a resistance level. Looking left, price issues, right? Remember we said there's going to be some shit going on? This is your shit. Oh, I thought it was going to go here, Ted. Well, guess what? It didn't. Why? Look left. They will tell you all that information there. Okay, so let's continue through. There we go. Push back up. This is the the UK session. So there we go. We had a pullback for the UK. Still issues with that price level, right? Because once again, what are we saying? We're looking left, and we're saying, well, yeah, shit, all this stuff's happening over here. Okay, North American session, yay. Look what we got, a pullback. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at our higher time frames, go through. Ooh, I like it. We're going to continue pulling up, right? More than likely, we're going to come over to this area here, right? Look left, that's where we should go. So that's what we're going to aim for at that point. So we're going to look, and now we're going to drop into our shorter time frames, and we're going to try and hunt buys. We want buys. So I want buys. So I'm going to zoom out a bit, see what we're doing here. No, 15 minute. Oh, shoot, right at resistance level. Okay, I don't like that. So let's take a look and see what happens. All right. This is going to be tricky. Tricky. Okay, so I'm going to jump in the shorter time frame. Okay, things are giving me information. I want this wick. So I expect this pull to go right to there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to start hunting. So what I'm hunting for, once again, is I'm looking at my range. 70 pips, 80 pips, good. Going down. Okay, perfect. Because if we go here, we should go here. So this is my box. So let's try and see if we can grab this before the North American Open. I'm going to take a shot and see if we can grab this before the North American Open. What do we want to say? Let's do this properly here so I don't have to go back and talk about this. So 6 pips. So let's do 7 and 7. Perfect. That's what we want to hit. So this is what we're looking for. So let's take a look and see how we do. Oh, so close. See? Right away, it friggin' touched it. See, that's the thing that pisses me off as a trader, is we get to this level here because we know we're going to tap this wick. It pulls all the way up and it pulls all the way down. And you're like, Jesus. But never fear. This means that we should continue that momentum, right? But it's just nice to get it in 5 minutes, right? Because essentially with that trade there, you would have basically spiked up like 50 pips and you'd have almost been done because we were aiming for that level. But let's continue and see where we go. Oh, why? It hit my stop loss. But you can see here. So that was a really tight trade. Oh, well, okay. So we hit that. Let's see where we're going. Oh, wow. Okay, so we're moving through. I wonder what happened. So 8 a.m. we just busted, eh? Okay, fair enough. I wanted that tight and I couldn't get it, and then we ended up getting cracked. All right, let's see where we continue. Probably gonna go up to that level again. No, okay, so now we're moving down. And let's see where we can hunt. So we did tap that resistance level and we couldn't make it a little bit more, which is fine. So that basically acted as a resistance, and we bought at resistance actually. Oh, wonderful. That tight range. So we're dropping through, so more than likely this wick will fill. So if you turn around and take a sell, we should be okay. Maybe? Nope. Oh, now it's ranging. Oh yeah, we're late in the day. Okay. So ranged. Asian Open. All right, so let's go back here for a second. I don't want to do that. And let's take a look at where we are in the 4-hour. Still ranging. So this is Wednesday, still ranging. The daily, we didn't tap that level. We got to that point where it just pulled back, so we didn't get that fill. But now it may be pulling back to go further up into that region because we still have that push. So let's take a look and see where we're going here. On the 15, we pull down, drop back further. Okay, I want to get to the London session. Okay, so London basically is going to fill that wick. There we go. And now it's almost like we're targeting that area again. So we're targeting this area going across here. So this is what I want to watch. Okay, so 7 a.m. we should be okay taking sells at this point. Actually, I don't want to do that. Close. Let me do that. I want to increase this because we should be good for sells at this point. So I'm going to go to this level here. We should go here at 112.701. So when we go from this level here to so 25 pip gain, 25 pip stop. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. That's what I'm aiming for with this trade. That's what we should be hitting on this in terms of the trade itself. So let's continue. Oh, news. Okay, That makes sense. Okay, so we got stopped out there and pulled all the way up. Now, oh, okay, this is really interesting. All right, so there was obviously a news event here as well, and there was a news event here. So we did see those spikes, so we never actually got to where we needed to be. Once again, simulator is always fun for these events because we don't really know what's exactly happening in the news, but we see that. Asian Open, we popped down, we pulled back up, still very hard to find this range here. So if I was going after something, this is where I would be heading. If I was taking buys, I'd be going up here. Sells, this is your level over here once again. So as we open the Asian session, we should keep moving. Drop. So as we move into the London Open, there should be further drops. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, there's your drop for the London session, which comes in coordination with what we originally wanted the other day. We didn't get it, which is fine. Now we move to North American. All right, so we were a day early with that trade, so be it. I think there was a lot of news events as well that contributed to that. Now let's take a look and see where we're going with the North American session. You can click on the news in the data box, narrow it down to that country. Okay, I'll have to look into that a little bit more. I don't want to ruin anything here. All things being equal, we did have a wick fill for that previous candle, so we're coming down to a support level, dropping into the 15-minute. Let's see how we work. Pull back up, pull back down. So now jumping into the 5-minute session, we should continue further down. Let's look at the 1 minute. Yes, everything seems to be going that direction. So let's do off the 15-minute. I want to see this section here get filled. So we're at 648, 728. So if we take a sell at this point, so 8 pips. I don't like that. So I want to put my stop above this resistance level here because you can see these candles here. So I'm going to try and do a 10 pip gain and a 10 pip stop. That's my goal. So let's do that. We're going to sell. I want to be right here because if we pull back up, that's where it's going to rifle all the way through, but our sell should be okay based on that. We should continue falling through that way. Nope. Did I get in early? Yep, I did get in early. Okay. So that was an early entry. There was our drop. So my stop loss was just a little too tight. Yeah. So you can see right away where we came in, we tapped that and pulled right back down. Stop loss was a little too tight. We had that initial drop. So if I had done 12 and 12, we would have been okay at that point. But once again, I'd be watching real time and I would have probably had an idea of what was happening. Yeah, we just literally just went a little bit higher than that resistance level. If we look across this section here, this is where we needed to be. So what we would have done, a better opportunity there, similar to what we've talked about, is if we're taking a sell, our stop should have been about 15 pips. So 15, 14, and 15, we would have been okay. We would have pulled all the way up and then continued all the way back down again afterwards. All right, so let's continue on. Erase. How do you know there's going to be drops? Because we're in a bearish momentum on the daily? Yes. So that's based on what I was looking at. So you saw the daily, that's what we were looking at. We had that fill, we had a continuation, we were going to pull through, we wanted to fill that level there. It got filled, but we were just a little late. So that's what I was looking at, is the overall bearish momentum at that point. All right, so Thursday, let's go Friday. Woo, Friday. Dropped even more. Sunday, Monday came back. So let's look at Monday. Still pulling back. Monday, where are we? So now we have basically new levels that we have to do. So you can see this line now. We're starting to match up probably with this level here. That's where I'd be looking. That's my new support level. So you can see how when you start to trade, you start to move your lines, but relatively stays in the same area. Do you use Alt-B to place multiple? No, I don't use Alt-B. I just click a button to click additional positions, similar to what I'm doing now. Okay, this is the London Open. We can take a quick look. You can see we have a little bit of an upward trend. So if you were to trade the Open, we're looking to see a push, maybe up. There we go. I'm just going based on looking at the candles. So what I was doing to spot that was we really didn't have any breaks here. We didn't have any breaks here. This was our lowest point. That's what I was looking at, is we're moving in that direction. Further confirmation of that, when we jump into our higher time frames, you can see where we were at support level. We're pushing away from support. Does that mean that we're going to continue this direction? What I'd be looking at is from this point, I'd be hunting this area again to go across over here. This is being a key consolidation area before the drop. We should return to that area, all things being equal at that point. So let's continue. There we go. So you can see this was a mess, but you can see where price ends up coming back, and price actually came back during the North American session. So if we drop back 17, 16, oh wow, yeah. So we dropped further during that session. Yeah, way too choppy. It is Monday, so, but then when you look at, as we go through the North American session, we pulled back to that level. So now we should be going up a little bit more. Nope, we're going back down, Asian session. All right, so here's once again where we look, wick fill, potential resistance level, we have price levels here. So where are we going? Into these price levels here. So let's zoom in a bit and let's take a look at why we would be going there. Okay, so we're looking to fill this wick. About 90% of the time, this wick is going to get filled coming into this price level here. So as we start to go through, we should see that wick totally get filled. So we see basically that wick is getting filled. This movement over here is noise. We have to pull back before we go further down. But as long as we're not pulling above this point, the sell is still valid at that stage. You have to realize that we may not fill this wick fully on one candle. It may take 2, 3 candles to fill, but as long as we're not above this range, this does not matter to me. It's if another candle forms and we're going in that direction, that's what matters to me at that point. So once again, when you see this candle here, don't freak out. Look to the left and make sure we're not going into that level there. If we're not in this point here, this candle is just a pullback to go further down. That's what you're looking at that point. Okay, so as we continue through, there's your wick fill. We're in this price zone here because that's what we were looking for. We're looking to get into there, so that's where you see that pullback because you see all these wicks here. If we continue further through, we will push all the way to this level here and this wick over here. That's what we're looking for. If not, we're going back into this level here and we're going across. So as you plan your trades, if I'm taking a sell, I'm looking to go here. If I'm taking a buy, I'm looking to go to this level here. That's what you're doing in terms of your trades, and you're going through now your shorter time frames to say, okay, we have momentum, 15-minute candles being filled, we should be okay. 5-minute candles pulled back a bit, which is all right. 1-minute candles are consolidating, right? Because we're hitting these resistance levels in the 1 minute. So 5-minute, we've pulled back a bit. So we can watch the 5-minute charts, pull back, see where we're going, tapping that level. So if we take a sell at this point, we should be okay for that level there. Let's take a look. 15-minute candle starting to pull, 1-minute candles, 4-hour, the hourly starting to come back. We may have consolidation here, so this might be an early trade because we're coming into this wick area. More than likely, we should be able to finish. We'll look at the 5-minute and play this out. Okay, so now we're moving further down. We've consolidated, pulled back up. So here's, once again, when you start looking at this point here, and we start to see how we have these candles pulling back, I would start monitoring the trade in the 1-minute frames. And I would start to see what is exactly happening. Is this a support level that we're not able to break? And I would start jumping into the 1-minute frames to see what exactly is happening. Here at this point, I would be setting I guess my stop, my trailing stop, or my pen or a stop loss here, 4 pips, almost halfway to my goal. So at least I secure something. I'm looking to hit this point. We should probably hit it, and we did. So we tapped that, but you can see when I'm watching the charts, I start to jump through and I start to figure out exactly where we're moving and where we're going to at that point, and we're able to have a successful trade based on the fact that, hey, we reached this level. I don't want to be a part of that level anymore. As we start to pull through, once again, now we start to consolidate again, and we'll start to pull down, drop a little bit further. We should go into the next range, which we did, because once again, what are we looking at in this range? Is we're looking at these candles. As we start to go through, we're starting to look to see what will have impacts on our trades as the trade progresses. So as we continue to go through, now we're in the North American session. We should be able to do a big sell-off here because we got a lot of momentum in the hourly. We pulled a bit up in the 15-minute, 4-hour. Yeah, so the 4-hour should fill. So we have a pretty good sell at this point. So we can do this. We should probably hit this target down here. We're in a good part of the range, so I'm just going to let this run and see where we go. And then if it doesn't hit, we'll take a look and see why it didn't do what it's supposed to do. Okay, so it did. Okay. Let's take a look a little bit closer. Okay, let's take a look at our risk to reward ratio. So, you know, we basically had, we had 0 drawdown. 5 pip drawdown. Oh, okay. Great work, Ted. Glad you're able to do this, Ted. Thanks, Ted. And we hit our 30 pip range. So we had a 6-to-1 trade there. Tuesday, great day to trade, right? Tuesdays to Thursdays, great day to trade. Ted sort of knew what he was talking about on Tuesday, so that was pretty good. But once again, the idea was when we jumped into the bigger ranges, we could see that, you know what, more than likely we wanted that wick being filled. And as we came here, we basically touched support. That's okay. We don't want to go to support. Remember, we're getting away from that. We're just trying to close just before support. And now we'll let the trades, let everything run off. You can see it tapped and pulled back on this level for the 1 hour. And as we start to continue, chances are we're going to have a bit of a pullback up. And there's your pullback. Tap further down, pull up, and there's your removal away coming towards the end of the day. And now we're pulling back away from that. So you can see, once again, as you come to this key level, you tap it, and then right away it starts pulling. You may only have 1 or 2 chances, and you can see in these candles, you might only have 1 or 2 chances before shit hits the fan. So my suggestion is, if you get an opportunity, and we'll go into the 15-minute, if you pull back and you're like, oh, you know, I was hoping to hit it. When you hit this point here and you see this little candle forming, get the fuck out. honestly, get the fuck out, because you can see what's happened here. You're right at support, 4 hour, right at support again. Don't be stupid. Don't try and fill this wick. Just get out. Don't be greedy, because it's going to pull all the way back and then suddenly all your profits erode. So really be aware of where you are with support and resistance and play proper. Play cool. You know what? We did our one trade. We had a perfect trade. We got in right away. We were okay. And that's all you're looking for at that point. Okay, so let's keep going and see what's happening. A new day has started. We pulled all the way back and everyone's excited because now when you look on the 4 hour, holy cow, look at that huge push, right? Oh, even bigger push. Brand new day. Look at the daily. Wow, look at that. We ripped it right apart. Okay, so now what do you do here, Ted? Tell us, Ted, what do you do here? Oh, to tell you the truth, I have no freaking clue. What I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to draw out some information for myself so I can get a clue. That's what you do. You ask why. Why are things happening the way they're happening? And as you go through it, you will start to see why things are doing what they're doing. Okay, so I have a support and resistance on the daily now. So what does that mean? I'm in a bad spot to take a trade. We have a 20 pip range for a trade. I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump back out and I'm going to let these play itself. All right, so if we look where we hit, oh, surprise, surprise. If we go into the daily, oh, we just tapped it. No, we tapped resistance and pulled back. Don't have enough information yet to say that we have a clear sell-off, right? Because this is only one candle and we haven't formed. We just started the candle. So be very cautious when you're looking at this. Jump into your shorter time frames, let the market develop and see where we're going. All right. Let's see. London open, jumping in. Okay, we're getting movement now. We're pushing through this, what we had as support level, but now what you can say is, okay, maybe that, or resistance level, maybe that resistance level now, this is what actually resistance was, right? Because this is still a daily candle. You can still modify your charts as the candle's progressing to give yourself more information. That's all you're trying to do, is you're always just trying to give yourself information. Nobody says you have to keep it stagnant. All right. All right. 6 a.m. North American session on a Wednesday. This is going to be fun because I don't know what's happening here. So let's take a look. Hourly just pulled off that resistance level. 4 hour, we're at a resistance. We're at resistance everywhere. This is a pain in the ass. So I don't have a trade yet. So let's take a look. Let's run this simulator through, see what happens when we get to 7 a.m. Here we are. Okay, so 7 a.m. we're still pushing. Oh, we got resistance at 114. I don't like that. Let's look at the 4 hour. Okay, 4 hours giving me information. That is information to me. If we were doing that, we could go to this level here. I still don't like the trades, so I'm going to wait to see what happens, and I'm going to take a look and just sit back and watch as we progress through this. So here we go. It's 7:30, 7:45. Okay, so now jump into the 5-minute charts. See what's happening. 7:50. Let's jump into the 1-minute charts, see what's happening here. I still don't like anything. There's not enough. I would like to see on the 1-minute chart, so something that's caught my eye right away on the 1-minute chart is this. I would like to see us get back to that level. So basically, if you were to take a buy, what I'd be looking for is I'd be taking a buy just before market open, 11 pips up, 11 pips down. Yeah, I think we could do it. Let's do 12 and 12 to be safe. I think we can do that. The idea here is we should hit that wick fill at that point because we never really did fill it and it pulled back out of that zone. So we should pull back up on the 1-minute charts. So let's see if we can get there. Okay, so let's stop for a second, okay? We are just before the North American Open. We have momentum going up. This is very pivotal as a trader, and the reason why I say it's pivotal is because you can determine that maybe we were just getting a liquidity pull and we get 5 pips. We literally had no drawdown. So you could technically exit this trade right now and grab 5 pips and call it a day. Your target is 12. Your risk is 12, right? So we're all in agreement that the risk is 12, the reward is 12. But if you did 5 with 0 pip drawdown, that's okay as well. We are targeting this and we are hoping to get there. But if we can get half of what we've targeted in a minute and a half, you really don't have to worry about too much, right? But let's play it out and let's see what happens. All right, so once again, we pulled further up. So you can see that these candles are starting to fill. So right away, we're at like 8 pips and we're still before the market open, which is great because we can get up here before the market opens. We can secure bags. We can put our stop losses above break even, and we could call it a day. We can do this stop loss. Oh, there we go. I guess I can't do that now, but I'll do that after. And now you see we're starting to pull up. This is important. This candle, this 5-minute candle before we open at the market may shift. You can clearly see we're tapping into this zone, right? This price level, we've started to tap into it. You have to make a judgment call here and say, hey, you know what? I might be happy grabbing 9 pips. So what we might do is we turn around and close. Why? Because as the market starts to open, we will either have a huge push up or a push down. I don't want to gamble on the push up or the push down. I basically secured 8 pips with no drawdown. I'm happy with this trade. This is what you're going for as a trader, to get in a perfect spot and get out. And there you go. As we start to move further down, just before market open, there's your drop. So you can see in 5 minutes how much of a difference it makes as we're moving in that market. Now, if we go into the higher time frames, you can see we tapped into this almost this resistance level, but now we're starting to pull away. So what do we think is going to happen? We could potentially start having a drop at this point. So now we'll jump into the 5-minute charts or back into the 1 minute and watch how it plays out. Holy fuck. Okay then. Well, you know, life's great, and you know, we had a huge wick fill. Let's see what our risk to reward would have been at that point. I think we would have still been in good. Yeah, it would have been 2. Yeah, you would have hit everything in 1 minute after that. So that would have been fun. And then it would have pulled away, back again. So like, this is fucked. And there we go, off to where we need to be, down in the basement. And then we're moving through. And we're coming towards the 8:30. There's usually news. We come back up again. But you can see once again, as we start to look through this, how choppy it becomes, but how important and how key timing is. And you saw what I did. I made a judgment call. And everyone looked at me and said at 8:01, they're like, oh, see, if you had kept it, you would have been in profit even more. And then 8:02 came and it fucking smashed everything. That is the key. When you start working on market opens and you start working on candle timings, you can see all this develop in the 1 minute, where you know as we're coming close to the hour close of a major candle or a session open, lots of stuff can happen. So if you can catch that grab where you had no risk, no drawdown, take it, let the market correct and do what it needs to do, and then jump in afterwards. When we see some candles jump with gap, what do we call that? Exactly what you just called it, a gap. There's no gap here in any of the candles. They're just 1 minute candles with big wicks. All right, so let's jump into the hour, see where we're going. look at the daily, see what we've got here. We've got a little bit of a push still. Go back into the hourly, it pulled all the way back. So you can see this is a key level. We have a lot of indecision here with the hourly candles. We dropped back into support, back into this range, so we didn't break resistance. So one can say we're going to drop this level here. Why? Because once again, I'm looking left. I'm looking for price levels. We tap there. We should tap over here, all things being equal at that point. Okay, so let's take a look and see what happens at this point. All right, we're still moving. This is consolidation. Candles are similar sizes. The bottoms are a little closer. We're coming closer to the end of the session. End of London, still in the North American session. Pulling back. And we broke through now. Let's take a look. Daily was still up, so we filled that daily wick. 4 hour, pull all the way down, pull all the way back up. We had that wick fill at that point. But once again, I'm not in the market at the end of the day. This was basically the end of the day, right? So if you look, we're coming towards the end of the day. We don't care about that. So let's continue. Let's go into the hour, see what's happening. So you can see we just had a nice pull into this liquidity area. So once again, this is a price region that we're pulling into. All things being equal, what we're going to either see is a push right through this level here, or we're going to have a huge pullback and this wick is going to be filled. So this is what you're looking for. Jumping into the 5-minute frames, we still have bullish momentum. 15-minute frames still bullish. Let's take a look. We're going to see what's going to happen. We're pushing. Once again, we hit a resistance level on the 15. On the hourly, we pulled. So this wick here, we have momentum, should fill on the hourly, but be aware, we are at a major resistance level now. We're at 1400 or 114. We look at the 4 hour, we're at a resistance. We didn't break it again. So we have to be cautious around this. And this is where I would say wait to let the trade develop and see where we're going, because there's no direction at this point. Because once again, we're at this resistance level. This could be what we would consider a supply zone. And why I mean that is we have a tap up and then potential rejection. This wick should be filled if this momentum continues. And that's what we're looking for at that point. And that's what I'm gauging right now. And I will jump into the 15-minute time frame and start to see this movement. If I see another candle in that direction, I'll jump into the 5-minute, zoom this in a bit, looking to see this drop. If I can get there, what do I see? Okay, right away I'm looking at my ranges. I got a 13 pip range to get there. Looks good, I think so. 13 pips up. Yeah, we can do that. Let's do 13 and 13. We just had the market open. I can do this break even fun thing. Let's do 6 and 6 to see if we can get what we want. And we'll go back to this and we will sell. Invalid auto break even settings. I thought I did it right. Okay, whatever. Well, I don't want to try and figure this out as I do it. So let's take a sell. And here we go. So you can see our stop loss is at this top point, and our take profit is at the bottom of this range. So what I'm looking for in this point, and what I'm visualizing is I'm saying we're gone up here, come down, gone up, we should tap. This level is lower than this level. So the next level should probably be here. We might do this and then go further down. That's what I'm expecting in this section here. Okay, so as we start to play it out, let's see if that happens. Maybe not, maybe not, maybe not, maybe not. Lots of consolidation, not fun. This is where you sit back and you're like, oh man, what did I take this trade for? Why is it happening this way? But what I'm seeing right now is some good things. And what I mean by good things is this is lower than this, right? This, you know, started this off. I see bad things because we're hitting supports here, but I don't see us breaking. So basically we're ranging at this point. So now what I'll do is I'll go and I'll look at our higher time frames. And we have a resistance level, a minor one here with the 15-minute candles, but we have push up. So there's a judgment call that we may want to get out. We have consolidation over here, so it looks like we consolidated and ranged for a bit. So we're going to take a look at that. So we'll jump back into the 5-minute and let's see how this plans out. All right. Don't like that. Next candle should break us. Yep, it broke. Okay. So once again, we didn't have the movement that we needed. We saw the 15-minute, we were at a resistance, and we saw the candles pulling up, so we went up instead of going back down, which is fine. But what I wanted you to say is, you can see as soon as we get to this level here, more than likely, it's going to take off. That's why you put your stop right at that resistance level, because now as we start to take off, we're starting to pull all the way through. We don't want to be caught in the drawdown that we don't want to be in. Basically now we've broken resistance at this point. We wanted it to fail, it didn't fail. We're looking at the hour time frame. This basically now was a pull to go further up. Now we'll watch again to see exactly what happens at this point to see how high we do actually end up going. And now we've broken it, and we're now on the US Open. And we're heading basically to this resistance level right over here at this point. So if you're looking now to take trades, you can see sort of what happened. We had this pullback, resistance was broken. We have two candles saying that we're supposed to go further up, but we're still in the middle of this range. So it is tough to trade. Jump into our 5-minute charts. I see a lot of things that I like. I see that we have a wick fill potential here. So when I look at my potential risk to reward, right away I can get 6 pips. But when I look at my 15-minute, we're consolidating. You can see all this for another break up potentially. And I look at my hour chart. You can see at this point we have a little bit of indecision. So if we start to map this out accordingly and we start to look at the 5-minute charts as the North American Open begins, chances are we're going to have that push. We had a wick fill, perfect. That's what we're looking for. Further push. So once again, if you came in at 7 a.m. and you looked at this, there was an opportunity for you to take a buy. Judging with momentum that we had based on the loss that we took earlier, this is where you're looking for and you're saying, okay, fine, we have momentum at that point to go further up. As the Asian Open, or as the North American Open starts, we had a pullback, which is fine. We're not worried about this. Once again, we're not worried about this pullback yet, because when we're looking on the hour, we still have bullish momentum. There's nothing that has told me yet that we're slowing down. So now what I have to be aware of is, where are we in the overall charts? And now when I go into the 4-hour, what I'm looking at once again, this area here. This area here, that's what I'm looking for at that point. And I'm going to say to myself, okay, all things being equal, if we jump into the shorter time frames, I want to get to basically we can get to essentially 560. So if I was going to take a trade right now, we could do 13 pips up and 13 pips down. That should give us a good option. So let me just exit this part. Let's look in the 5-minute. I like the way a 5-minute is. The 1-minute, perfect. We had a pullback and now we're going further up. I'll let this 1-minute start to move a little bit, like what I see. We're coming close to the end of this candle, so let's wait. All right, so now we're going to take a buy. Might be tight now, but we should be okay at this point. Yeah, so now we're consolidating up. So once again, we've come into this point where we're starting to pull a bit, and we're going for 568. That's where I want to be, just because of, like, this is a little bit too high. I would rather be in this area here, so I don't want to get stuck. So I'm going to jump into the 1 minute, and if we get to 568, I want to get out. Nope, we're not going to get there. Yeah, 568 was where we needed to be, and it's going to be very, very tight for us to get there. Let's just expand this. Yeah, so that's, yeah, because I think 568 was where we needed to be. Yeah, damn it. That is a very good level. Yeah, so once again, 568, 550, that area, that was the highest point where we needed to be. You can see on that candle, 542 was the high. Here, same thing, 542, and then we ended up pulling away. And we still move through, coming through. Just went too much of a drawdown once again with this level here. I'm pushing up over to here. So 568, if we look on the 4-hour, so we actually did hit that point, but look at the drawdown we would have taken to get to that level. So once again, it's really figuring out, looking left, what's the issue? If we're still going to move through, how are we going to go up into that level? Doesn't look like we're going to get there. So as we start to go through, now we're pushing down. So if we look on the daily, you can see now this is a key price level. So this level over here, it's giving us information for this. We should technically fill this level here going further down. Where are we Friday? I don't want to trade it, so that's fine. We're not going to trade Friday. Let's let this go. But look at what we had. We had a whipsaw and then a push down. Now we're on Sunday, Monday, so we filled Sunday's wick. This should basically bring us to that support level. So let's keep going. Tuesday, we tapped into it and pulled back out. So now we're going to start evaluating again. Tap and a push. So let's go through this. This is the Asian Open. Great. Let's go into here what we're looking at. Asian, London, didn't do much. North American Open. So right now we're at a support level. There's not much to look at here. When you take a look, this is your range. Essentially, we should hit this resistance level and pull back down, or continue all the way, or sorry, hit this resistance level, or not even get close and then pull right back down. So as we start to go through, hit the resistance, pulled up, consolidating. Now we're coming to the North American Open. There's our push down. We're starting to get wick fills, so we should be able to sell at this point because of the open. Providing there's no news, we should be okay. So yeah, so we should be able to do, let's be safe. Let's do 15 and 15. That should bring us right there, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so we should break this level here, all things being equal. Let's take a look and see what we get. So let's stop and see. Here's another situation where once again we're aiming for this level here, but we're coming into this traffic. There's nothing wrong with taking profit at this point. Why? Because we're right around we just formed a new hourly candle. And also what happened is we had 10 pips, we got 10 pips, but if we look at our drawdown, I think our drawdown was only 10 as well. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so our biggest drawdown was I think 12, 11, 10 pips. So you're still okay. So I mean, we can let it run. More than likely, it's probably going to go down to this support level. But here's a judgment call again, where like if you battled this and you were like sitting there like with white knuckles saying, man, I can't believe I'm in this trade. It went back this way, down this way. Give yourself a breather, get out. Like it's okay. It's not a big deal. Nobody's going to really be upset with you that, you know, you turned around and closed early. So we'll take a look and we should probably hit it on this candle. So we'll see what ends up happening. And We almost did. So that is a bad situation because now we're probably going to fly back up to come right back down. So let's take a look. Now we're stuck in a trade, stuck in a trade, stuck in a trade, stuck in a trade. We're still stuck in this trade forever. It's like we're never going to get there, finally. So you can see when you looked at this candle here, right? And this is what I mean. When you tapped over here or tapped over here and got there and it started pulling back, you can see now how much shit you had to go through to finally get there. So did you want to waste your whole day crying about it, or did you just want to take your 9 pips and get out? All things being equal, like I said, we should go to this level here, but when do we get there? We don't know exactly. So it's judgment calls. It's being able to say, hey, you know what, I'm okay with, doing this. We were never in any harm's way because our stop loss was over here and we still had a 1-to-1 ratio, but it was more of like, I'm happy just taking 9 pips. Like I didn't need the extra 2. Like really, is that necessary? Things of that nature. Okay, so as we go through, Wednesday is always a good day. Just push through, and there we go, we're further down. Touch support. Okay, so this is what you're doing, and once again, how am I visualizing it? These candles, lower candles, lower candles, lower candles, in that direction. But once again, I mean, this is an issue, right? You can see how clearly that was laid out. It tapped and pulled back again. So you have to be aware of these things as you jump into the smaller time frames. All right, so let's take a look. When you're looking for the candles, this might cause issues telling you to get out. Do you look at these candles at the lower time frame? Well, this is 15 minutes, so you could look at the higher time frames. I was just focused on a 15-minute. I find 15-minute for me is very easy to trade. I find that I'm able to see visually a little bit more. Where the hour, it seems like, you can see what we were doing here. It's a lot of work to work through the hours. 5-minute chart, you can see here we had that dip. I would have probably looked there and like I said, get out when we had that final dip because of the fact that it was starting to pull back right away. And even jumping into the 1-minute chart, I would have saw the same thing essentially at that point and said, hey, like you can see where we get dips, let's get out, let's not hang around, let's try and finish the day and enjoy yourself at that point. All right, we'll do one more day, and then if there's questions, we can talk about it. All right, so this is the Asian session. Here comes London. London pushed up. London pushed up. London push. London push. There we go, North American. Okay, so what do I see? I like this because we're getting momentum in this direction. So I like this area over here again, if we can get up to that point. But you have to realize that's a key level because we talked about that before. We lost a trade trying to get up or to take a sell there. We lost the trade. So what we want to do is we want to be aware that if we tap that level and go across, more than likely we should get out. So we're at 14,209. So my stop loss, if we want to do this off the hourly, we can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this off the hourly to speed things up, and we're either going to hit it or we're going to shit it. So that's a 5 pip. Okay, so let me do this. So this candle here, yes. Okay, so 26 pip loss. Oh, we can do like a 2-to-1 on this one, and we can do a 40 pip gain. All right, so we're going to do a 26 pip stop and a 40 pip gain on the hourly. Okay, so we're just going to go blind based on the fact that we want this candle to fill, based on momentum, based on what we've seen here. So what I'm looking at on the hourly is I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that. I'm looking, we just consolidated and broke out. So we should get a little bit of this and then a little bit more of a push. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm visualizing right now. So let's take a look and see if that happens. If not, oh well. We tried, right? We all try. That's all we can do when we trade. Oh, well, aren't I a genius? Yes. See, that's how it works. You just click one button in an hour and you hit that trade. And then we jump into the 15-minute, there you go. Oh yeah, see, look, no drawdown. Yay. But you can see, I mean, once again, I did lose trades, so I am human. But what I did was I visualized where I needed to be, but more importantly, see when I take profit? It's like in the middle. Like it's sort of like over here. I'm worried about that stuff. I'm not aiming for this. I'm not aiming for the top. I'm aiming for the middle. You could have aimed over here to be more conservative, but you know what? We just basically took the trade. It was an hour trade. Let it run, and you're done. I don't even have to trade now the North American session, so we can let the North American session go. And you can see we would have filled that entire wick with that last candle, but hey, what do we care, right? We did what we needed to do. Now the market's doing whatever it's doing. Let it run and let it do whatever it does. So you can see we tap that wick. So once again, you tap that wick, matches up there, perfect. Those are easy trades. Those are the things that you want to look at. And then now we're pushing further down. All right, so that's it for me. Let's take a look and see what we did here in terms of damage. Oh, yay, we won. Trades. History. All right. So we did pretty good. So, yeah. Okay, so we got 13 pips. We got 30 pips almost, 19 pips. We lost 15 pips, lost 17 pips, lost 7, 7.4, lost 25, 10, we won 10, 130, won 8, lost 13, lost 13, 115, 140. So we ended up making money. That's pretty good. Let's see the stats. So absolute drawdown, there you go. We can go through that. Profit factor, number of trades, profitable trades. We still lost trades. That's pretty good, right? Largest profit, largest loss. 1-to-1. We were okay. We lost 7 in a row. Oh, that's not good. But you can see over the long term basically what it is, and we can see we basically went down, up, down. There you go. I think it's important that you look at this and you say to yourself, okay, where could we have made it better? Where can we have improved? But more importantly is when you look at the overall, you can clearly see we had 8 profitable trades and 9 losing trades, but we still ended up overall in realized profit. So managing your account is very, very important. And a lot of these trades would be mitigated because of the fact that you'd be stacking. You would have a little bit more profit. So I was just showing one trade at a time. I've made a few errors there. I was trading on a Sunday, on a Monday, things I wouldn't have done. So like those things would have been cleaned up, but you can see like my North American session was pretty clean in terms of the way I was trading, what I was looking for, stuff of that nature, possibly closing trades a little bit earlier because I don't want to get stuck in certain things, right? So I think there's a lot of learning opportunities from this, but more importantly, it just gives you an idea of, what you're looking for as a trader. All right, any questions? Any questions? Somebody wants the money sent to their cheeseburger account. I can do that. That's not a problem. This will be in the vault shortly. Your mentors will also get a copy of this. Is there another simulator that's good other than Soft Forex? I don't know. Google. Like you guys ask such ridiculous questions. Google. This is the one I'm using. I don't know any other ones. I don't even like using it. I rarely use it. You can see why, because it just skews you around and does things. I like looking at charts just as they are and being able to map things out in real time. It's hard to build out that daily chart there too. All right, going once, going twice. I think we covered a lot of information, and we will do that. When will you be doing your next live? I did that this morning. Can I camp out in your yard for the brokerage dinner? Yes, you can. I think everyone will enjoy that. All right, so you guys have a good day. Enjoy yourself, and we will chat. Once again, it'll be in your mentors folder when they get it.